What? Pika? What? There's something on my shirt? Pika, that's not the usual food stain that I have on every single one of my T-shirts. That's part of the silk screen of the design. Hey there, everybody! It's time for the comics coffee table. Pull up a chair, grab a cuppa, whatever it is you're shoving under your nose today. Today I've got my water bottle. I'm staying hydrated in this mid-August heat. Be water, my friend. Be water. Bruce Lee. I got this from the official Bruce Lee store. It was a nice snag. Indeed. This is the Geeky Chill Stream, and we assemble here at our comics coffee table. We leave the... What, Pika? That is a water. That's water. Don't worry. Pika's just... He likes to tease me. I have the same stain basically around here or here on every single t-shirt I have, basically. You'd think I'd learn to eat by now. Hey, I'm that fella at the public house or a restaurant. I'm shameless. I will tuck in my napkin into my shirt collar to prevent that. I live and learn, kid. And if someone says, "What? You need a baby's bib?" I was like, "What? You're gonna need a diaper when I'm done with you, you little fucking shit. Mind your own fucking business." Oh no, we're gonna get demonetized, Pika. Why do you write these things down in the? I'm reading the show notes. We leave the real world's problems over there just for a few minutes in our busy day. We assemble here as like the Avengers do or the Justice League. And we talk about comic books. It's our hobby. It's a big love of ours. I'm a lifelong comic books fan. I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, and it's Wednesday. It's new release day. Well, that's changed over the years. As long as I've been pretty cognizant, Wednesday is new release day. Sure, DC releases on Tuesdays now. Yeah, I remember. I got no, whatever. They just, I think it's got more to do with the digital release than it does the print publication release. I don't think it really respects the customer. And you know how hard it is to want to get a DC funny book, and what I need to go 2 days. I need to go on Tuesday and Wednesday to make sure that I get what I want. I don't thanks. Oh, you can make a poll list. It's not my style. But I gotta say though, it's getting harder and harder and harder for me to buy new comics. It is. I don't know if I hit the wall or I'm looking at the wall and I don't like the writing on it. I think that's it. Ooh, deep thoughts. And it's Wednesday, and we usually do a new release menu day. I'm a professional chef. I love reading menus. I do, and I also like reading the new releases that are coming out. So I go to a resource known as leagueofcomicgeeks.com slash comics slash new comics, and they have a sorted menu of what your local comic book shop could be ordering and have on their shelves this very Wednesday. And so I like to go through and see what interests me and what I could be buying. And as I usually like to say, this could be us right now at the comic book shop. I'm picking this up. That's not going to happen this week. It's 2 weeks in a row. I'm not going to my local comic book shop and spending my money there. Why? Because there's no new releases there. I have boxes, I have boards, I have bags. I do need more boxes. I do. I need to get back into the swing of things. We will be getting back into the swing of things sooner than later. And don't stop being distracted by the water stain on my shirt. I am. It's all good. Don't worry. It's just water. And there's just nothing that interests me. I'm so tired of the modern aesthetic of comic books, the digital angle to it, and I got no room in my life for that. I don't want to spend my money on it. I don't want to passively say, "Hey, that's okay that you serve us this crap." And it's hard for me to say crap. I mean, if I say crap, I'm not knocking the writers, I'm not knocking the artists, but this is the best you can do. This digital enhanced stuff. It goes right from digital line art to a digital colorist. You're cutting out the inker. You're also not allowing the artist to have a finished paper copy in order to sell. It's a good income stream for any artist. But this is where the comic books are going. I'm just not going with them, and I have to start being very selective about what I'm buying. And I feel bad because we make a big deal on our show here to go to your local comic book shop and support them with your patronage. Dollars talk, man. I mean, and that's why I get my supplies at my local comic book shop. My bags, my boards, and my boxes. I'm not getting them through the big box stores or the online supply chain, where I could be getting a price break. I will voluntarily pay the retail markup for my supplies because it's important for me to, to, to contribute to the overall financial success and the longevity and livelihood of my LCS, my local comic book shop. But guess what? This is the second week in a row in over a year that I have not gone to my LCS to pick up new releases or to look, to peruse the shelves. Um, I'm just, my heart is not in it anymore. It's terrible. I mean, it's the digital part of it. It's outsourcing to, you know, artists that, just, hey, they deserve a fair shot too, and they deserve to see their handiwork done. But you can't convince me otherwise that this isn't. It's less than art, and it's more glorified coding. It's about this. This is this isn't art to me. No, I know you think it is. I know you want to sell me on that thought that it is. I know that I'm being some kind of 20th century throwback by not admitting to myself that, hey, this is where art is going. You need to get with it or get off the wagon. Well, guess what? I'll find somewhere else to get where I'm going, and that's called satisfaction. It's called a town called satisfaction. I'm not satisfied with the color palette, with this nigh infinite color palette that we have with digital coloring, and there's just always this over reliance on pink, blues, and purples. And these, like, I just crave the old kind of look to it. The eye popping primary colors, and there was just a certain feel to it. And then comes digital filters, the Ben Day dot or Zipatone filters, to make it look like comic booky, and then you have this overly produced shininess and light and in line. It just, like, it doesn't have. It's called organic line. You can feel it in the art, and it's a romantic notion. You can somewhat feel the artist's, like the inker's brush in their hand, and the pounds per square inch that they put behind it, their stroke. It's a tactile thing. It's romantic. I love art, but the digital art looks a lot like the AI art that's out there, and it doesn't. I know that these people are proud of their work, and they're getting published, yay! But it's just, why waste the paper on this? Why waste the resources involved for the illusion of having a percentage of your marketplace? Like Scholastic and manga have like the biggest part of the pie. And when it comes to hold on one second. Here we go. I got this from Tilting at Windmills. That's the Brian Hibbs um, very detailed analysis. And so 2022 Western Publishers by QTY. What is that? The quarter throughout. What does QTY mean? By quantity. Okay. 2022 Western Publishers by quantity. And this pie chart, Scholastic has 40% of the pie. HarperCollins has 8%. So that's 48% right there. Penguin Random House is 10%. So we're almost close to 60% there. DC Comics has 6% of the 2022 Western Publishers market share there by Marvel has 4%, and then you have 3% with Dark Horse, 1% for Image, 1% for Boom, and it just looks really awful for Western comics. But how can I buy these like unsatisfactory comic books? Let's see. Well, one thing I'm not into, I seriously, is counting other people's money. And so when I watch all the other YouTube shows, and they're always like, like Snow White's not going to make money because of Rachel Ziegler's big mouth. Like, I don't care. I just seriously, Disney doesn't care about money either. They say they do. I mean, the proof of the pudding's in the plate of what you offer the guests and how you're either hospitable or entertaining, huh? But I'm not gonna. I don't get my thrills off of counting other people's money or getting a thrill out of them not succeeding or succeeding. I don't know. I have a hard enough time with my finances. But with Western comics on this huge decline, especially the periodical publication, my beloved floppy. I mean, I want to be part of the solution, but I'm not going to buy an unsatisfactory product. Such as, like, look, we got Daredevil number 14 by Chip Zdarsky. It's $4.99, 36 pages, and art by Marco Cicchetto. He's pretty good. And then it goes straight to a colorist. and it's the last issue of this volume. It's Legacy issue 662, but issue 14 of this Chip Zdarsky run. I hear good things about it. I mean, but no thanks. And then there is a title that I am buying. It's Mark Waid's Batman, Superman, and World's Finest, number 18, and this is what my gang at Thinking Critical got me into. They were like, "You got to be getting this. It's up your alley." So it's the secret origin of the world's finest team of Batman and Superman. So World's Finest is a really nice angle. It just tells tales of a few years back, or several years ago, because Robin is Dick Grayson, and he's pretty young. He's not. He's still in high school age. He just became the Teen Wonder, and he's the leader of the Teen Titans. There's also a World's Finest Teen Titans comic book that I'm not buying either. I mean, for the same reasons. Unsatisfactory art. Also, that one's written for a trade because that's a limited series. And I'm like, I bought the first issue. I got the foil variant because it's cute, and I like that kind of stuff. But you know what? I'm out for that one. But it's Batman, Superman's World's Finest. It has 5 variant covers. It's Mark Waid. It's usually with art by Dan Mora, but today this issue has art by Travis Moore. then that says artist credit, and it goes straight to the colorist. And yeah, and that just really doesn't interest me. Now it's got a nice Dan Mora cover, but it's $3.99, 32 pages. That's nice. Well, 8 to 10 of those pages are going to be house ads. Nothing even thrilling. Why don't you try to sell me something I want to buy? Like, is there some kind of product out there? I mean, there you go. There's just your marketing. You don't have that anymore. And think of how Superman and Batman met and became friends. Think again. Read the untold tale of how their worlds first collided and the stunning secret loss that nearly destroyed their partnership before it even began. Here we have. So it might be a standalone issue, but I've been reading this for under a year. I kind of like it, and but I think I'm done with it. I'm not impressed with it anymore. I mean, gosh, I mean, what happened to me? Well, yeah, it's the digital art. It's the digital onomatopoeia. That's a word that's spelled the same way it sounds. It's the sound effects in a 2D panel, and it's all soulless. It lacks charm. It lacks that. Literally, it lacks that human touch. And it's gosh. And this is great because there are 83 print publications for your local comic book shop to present this very week in the serialized floppy. That's a cute term, a floppy, because is a term for a comic book. A single issue. I love the single issue format, and I think it's a dying breed, especially since you're writing for the trade. I mean, why not just skip the illusion of the market share? If you only got if you only have 6% of the entire, if you're DC, you got 6% of publications, and that includes Scholastic. I mean, that's 40%. Scholastic, they sell Dogman and fare like that, Captain Underpants, things that are not comic books. They're illustrated stories, yes. They're sequential art, yes. Are they comic books though? No, they're not. They're different. It's a little different. But DC Comics, 6% of that market share. Marvel, 4%. So that means 10% of 2022 Western publishers by quantity. 10% were the big two, and these traditional superhero stories that I love and adore. And it's just, but this illusion of market share. I mean, of like, why bother printing floppies? And just now everything's about cost cutting. You got DC, that they're owned by Warner Discovery. Well, they've been owned by the Kinney Corporation since 1967 anyway. And Kinney Corporation became Warner Brothers after they bought Warner Brothers Studios and rebranded. But Marvel was bought by Disney, I think about 2010 or so. And so, of course, this is the trend, and like I see it everywhere, in all the Image comics now, in the Dark Horse comics, especially over. I don't really read Boom comics or Dynamite, but I am reading Mad Cave comics, and I am reading Scout comics, and those are just printed digital comics. And it's just like, why bother? Why don't you just go straight to the trade? Save yourself, some hassle. And I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, just like it's and this is someone that loves floppies. All right. So at number 3, so this is sorted here at leagueofcomicgeeks.com. They're literally sorted by what is the most pre-ordered popular ones. So Daredevil, World's Finest, and Something is Killing the Children, number 32, from Boom Studios, written by James Tynion IV. And this is a really popular horror book. And I'm not in it. I'm not into it. It's not on my radar. But, geez, it's got great buzz. People are raving about this. There's Spider-Man number 11 for $4.99, 36 pages. Written by Dan, fuck you, Slott. Dan Slott. Hey there, buddy. You're number one in my book. Oh, boy. Yeah, so it's the whole Spider-Boy thing. Blah, blah, woof, woof. Who is Spider-Boy? What's his connection to the Amazing Spider-Man? And what do I care? I don't. Yeah, Dan Slott's got me blocked on Twitter, or X, for being adjacent to stinky people. And I can only hope the same for you, sir. You deserve your karma. That you are going to be judged for who you're adjacent to when the pendulum swings eventually in the other way. Couldn't happen to a nicer person. Am I a jerk for thinking that? I know. I'm trying to remain above it and neutral. Yes, I have hurt feelings because I really enjoyed this guy at once. I don't feel like I deserve that. And but life goes on, doesn't it? And how am I supposed to want to buy and patronize my local comic book shop? Not going. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Spider-Man 11. Hope that dies on the vine. There's X-Men Red number 14. What's X-Men Red? I mean, X-Men Red. Let's read this from the wiki. That's right. Let's see. This series is about the X-Men team that is on Mars. Mars has been terraformed, and it's been renamed as the planet Arakko. Now, Arakko is the other half of Krakoa, and it's part of the Hickman House of X Powers of 10, direction. We call it the Krakoan era of X-Men, and hopefully that's coming to an end. I would like to buy X-Men comics. Actually, the much ballyhooed Jordan White, the editor of the X-Men titles, is being replaced by Tom Brevoort soon. So there'll be a new editorial vision, and my hope is that they go back to the mansion, the danger room, classic costumes. I love the dark blue and yellow with the red belt buckle. I love the Jim Lee era of the early 90s, all the straps on the thigh straps and the pouch stuff. I couldn't get enough of that. I really dug that. I like the school uniforms but man, just like I hope that they get one more do-over. As a lifelong X-Men fan, I would like to feel included. I'm not, because the X-Men have been they've been appropriated by marginalized communities, and I'm not marginalized enough, I guess. I mean, I'm only a lifelong X-Men fan. I've always felt like an outsider and a loner, and I always felt welcome as part of the X-Men, part of, in my, in fandom. But lately, it's like you have to have a sob story. I'd like to go back to a more neutral X-Men where everybody is welcome, and they don't represent in real life marginalized people. I'm not sold on that. Only a needy activist is going to sell you on that, and to try to use that as a platform to, to do whatever it is that they're doing. I just want escapism and entertainment and classic X-Men superhero stories. That is too much to ask. It is too much to ask. There's Ghost Rider number 17. He's got a team up with Wolverine, and this is part of the Weapons of Vengeance series. It's part 2. It's $3.99 for 28 pages. No thanks. And I read the first one, Ghost Rider Wolverine Alpha 1 last week, and the whole harmful stuff to children happening in there just isn't my cup of tea. As a lifelong Star Wars fan, I would love to be reading Star Wars stories, So there's Star Wars, Darth Vader number 37. It's the Dark Droids mini event that's spreading over all 10, 12 different Star Wars titles. Not all of them, but it's written by Greg Pak again. Another writer who has blocked me on Twitter for whatever their reasons are. I've never had an interaction with this individual, so fuck you, Greg Pak, too. You're number one in my book. You are number one. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I hope it die. It's not going to die in the vine. It's just a gig, and it's just, you know what I mean? But, it's, whatever. I mean, yeah, huh? The less said, the better. There's Iron Man Annual number 1. It's the Contest of Chaos. It seems that there's the annuals are supporting a mini event too, which is kind of classic Marvel. Which is that's pretty cool. And that's a $4.99 issue. It's 28 pages for an annual. Oh gosh, no way, man! Because that means it's 20 to 22 pages of story. Annuals are supposed to be extra, extra big. And oh man, and it's Iron Man versus Storm, Jason Liu and David Cutter. I actually have to look up writers and artists now to see if they've blocked me on Twitter, because that's my lens now. Like, I'm not going to paste. I'm not going to buy someone that is excluded me. I mean, for their ideological reasons. Fuck you. Sorry. This is what it's like to be a comic book fan. If it's not the ideology of the creator, it's the cost-cutting, unsatisfactory art. I mean, this is why. And Warren Ellis can't get a job at Marvel, doing what he does best, writing the best superhero stories imaginable, because of the digital lynch mobs, stuff like that. I would overlook the digital bullshit to read Warren Ellis. I overlook digititis to read Mark Miller books, because it's there. You know what I mean? You can't. But I mean, there's no winning. Who's winning? You know what I mean? Is it the young kids that don't know any better? I don't know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 142 in the IDW years. Not interested. I hope it does well, because geez. It's $3.99 for 28 pages. Well, we all know what that means, but it's not. I just no thanks. Uncanny Avengers number 1 for $4.99, written by Jerry Duggan, of whom does not piss me off. It's a unity squad between the X-Men and the Avengers. And it's been done before, but it's being done again. So we've got Captain America on the same team with Rogue, Quicksilver, Deadpool, Psylocke, and it looks like Monet, and yeah, and a bonus page written by Jonathan Hickman about his GODS event coming sometime soon. $4.99, 36 pages. And yeah, that's that. Hopefully I'll be reading this. Hopefully I'll be reading all the Marvel comics again. I have a buddy that's sharing his folder of digital Marvel comics that he gets, and it's been quite a ride. I'm enjoying the experience of not paying for them, and to actually have some. Hey, guess what? I'm going to read these, and I'm going to actually have a well-formed opinion. And I'm like, look at this crap. I mean, and again, I'm not shitting on the creators. It's not the creators' fault. It's the publisher's fault. Who tell the editors-in-chief, who tells their editors that, hey, we have to cut costs. We have to pay, we can't spend money on A-list talent. This is as good as it's getting for funny books these days. We have Dark X-Men number 1, which is part of the Fall of X series. It's the Dark X-Men, yay! Let's see, and yeah, whoever they are. It looks like there's Archangel, Rogue, Havoc, Gambit, Havoc. Geez, it looks like Azazel, and some kind of cyborg Wolverine, and the Goblin Queen. I like the Goblin Queen. That Madeline Pryor. She's a clone of Jean Grey that Cyclops fell in love with, left the X-Men for, married, and so Madeline Pryor is the mother of Nathaniel, aka Cable. Can't make this a superhero. This is superhero story logic, dudes and dudettes. We got Void Rivals number 3 for $3.99. Not interested. I got that issue number 1 and the 1 in 25 variant cover, and yeah. So this went from being like a number 1 to, you know, yeah, not interested. But hey, way to go! You're printing funny books. Then we come to DC. They're wrapping up their Night Terrors event that's disrupted the dawn of DC. There's Night Terrors Superman number 2 for $4.99. And that's written by Joshua Williamson. And yeah, I hope, and lots of people out there in the live chat and the comments are reading Night Terrors. I'd like to know what you think about your experience with Night Terrors, especially when it wraps up shortly. Like, what would you think? Is it going to have lasting changes? Is there a status quo? Are they introducing a new character? Do you think it's going to stick this time? How many new characters have you seen introduced in these events that have only become cannon fodder in the end? Like, yeah. Then there's Night Terrors Nightwing number 2 by Becky Cloonan and her husband Michael Conrad. But Becky Cloonan, another creator who I have not interacted with on Twitter, has blocked me on X. Yeah, I can't support that. I will, geez, I'm sorry. I mean, GFYS. I mean, you and your politics. Maybe, like, politics. Work should be the last place you bring up politics. I mean, I would like to go back to a bit more of a traditional kind of thing, Jeez. There's Death of the Venomverse, $4.99 for 36 pages. There's Batman Generation Joker from White Knight Presents. It has Sean Gordon Murphy covers, and it's set in his universe. And he lays down the story. His wife, Katana Collins, is the writer, and also helped out by Clayton McCormack, who's actually a local dude. Hey, this show is pre-recorded, live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals from our Boston studios. So I should be supporting the local guy. Why not? And I did get issue 1. I'm not into the White Knight world, but I love Sean Gordon Murphy, and I love his art. Let's see, we have Night Terrors Wonder Woman, written by Josie Campbell, art by Juan Ferreira. I mean, yeah, $4.99, 40 pages. There's Tales of the Titans number 2 with spotlight on Raven, written by Teenie Howard, and I don't think I've ever read a Teenie Howard book, so I got no opinion. There's Loki number 3. And yeah, I'm not into, like I said about the Marvel comics. Hopefully I'll find a nice folder full of Marvel comics, in my DMs, and be like, oh, I'll check that out, because Alpha Flight number 1 is coming out, and written by Ed Brisson. I love Alpha Flight. I'm a big fan of Alpha Flight from back in the early 80s. That's where my love of the X-Men began. 1981. I was 8 years old. Pocket change. I saw the cover price change from 50 cents to 60 cents. And Alpha Flight came out around then, too. And it was very Wolverine kind of centric. Wolverine had a lot to do with it, too, because he was like the linchpin between those two teams. Everybody's favorite Hot Girl number 2. That's not just a bathroom code. Get yourself ready for bisexual lighting of purple, pinks, and blues. And lecturing from one side of the aisle. Oh, who cares, man? Oh my god, and I don't want to bag on the creatives. It's not their fault. An editor greenlit this. An editor proofread this and couldn't say to their team, "This lettering doesn't look too hot. Tighten this up." I mean, this it's better just to let activists blow the eight. Just don't give them the. I mean, just are they still at it? Yeah, they're still at it. Just let them okay, more. There's more. What you have? I have a drinking problem, dude. That's not fair. I'm Irish. Ah, boy, oh boy. What comics are you getting today? Let me know. There's Night Terror's Catwoman by Teenie Howard. And, yeah, it's girls, girls, girls. Because I mean, just. I heard a funny one. Yeah, well, women are 40% of comic sales. Well, probably because, all the boys have been asked to leave. And so that's why, that's just me being a sardonic jerk. Because yeah, I can be. There's Alien #5. That's $4.99 for 28 pages. And like I said, I got the first issue of that. I can smell a stinker a mile away. No thanks. The Vigil by Ram V, or is it Ram the Fifth? There's Punchline, $3.99 Night Terrors. There's Penguin issue #0, and I'm a sucker for a 0 issue, but I'm not nibbling. But I take it back. There is one issue of something that I should be going. I will go back and get it on a different day, but it's X-Men, Days of Future Past Doomsday, issue #2. And I can overlook it's got a penciler, and it's got an inker, okay? Its penciler is Manuel Garcia, its inker is Cam Smith. So right there, I'm already looking forward to it, to see some organic line work and to see some more traditional comic book art and not this cost-cutting corporate, illusion of, this isn't art. That's glorified coding. Prove me wrong. All right? But it's written by Mark Guggenheim, and I really loved issue #1, and I would, I will get that next week when I'm there. I will. I'm not going this week. No. Sorry. And then it goes down the line. Anything else I'm going to get? Is there any, no. There's nothing else out there. There's Grew Into the Wild #2 for $4.99 from Dark Horse Comics. If that's out there, if that's still on the shelf next week, I'll pick that up. Because that's fun. I really enjoyed that first issue. Grew's pretty good. But yeah, 84 floppies available this week. And still, I'm just like, there are 2 out there. So I will revise that. There are 2 floppies out there that I'm interested in picking up, but I'm not going in this week just to get those. I'll see if, and I can always find it somewhere, because I have a few different comic book shops in my neighborhood. Or I can hit up Yule Carter of Fantastic Comics of Berkeley, California. This is a shameless plug for my buddy. If you need a back issue, if you're looking for a variant cover, if you want something shipped to your home and you cannot get to your local comic book shop, or you don't even have a local comic book shop, you do have a local comic book shop available to you. Check out Yule Carter's Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. He'll be happy to hook you up. Seriously, get in touch with him. I'll leave his deets are in the description. Seriously, I mean, yeah, he's a good guy. He's got a good show every Tuesday. You should check him out. And yeah, I stand by Yule. He's a good guy. He's my friend. And but yeah, he will hook you up. And that's it. New release day. Another week. I'm not going to my local comic book shop. I feel as though I'm failing them, my local comic book shop somehow, and I feel like I'm failing myself. But I don't want to. I can't be sold on unsatisfactory cost cutting, corner cutting. There's it's art. There's effort involved in art. There's a human quality to art. This isn't art. This is like I keep coming back to culinary references because I'm a professional chef. Maybe it is my fault for thinking that these big two comics are juicy steaks when in fact they're Big Macs and Whoppers, with mass produced, with the nutritional equivalent of something that's mass produced, processed food, and to get something more authentic, more genuine, and more lovingly prepared with human tastes involved. I mean, just there's an antiseptic quality to this digital stuff. I have a couple of examples. I'm going to wrap up the show with two crowdfunders that I got recently. And one, the man we know as Drunk 3PO. His first crowdfunding book, it's Achromatic Chronicles Blue. It's about a young boy named John who's an only child in a black and white world, and he befriends this Blue. That's Blue, and Blue enters his life one day, and Blue touches his life in a way that colors this black and white life of his. It's done in this anime style, in the manga style. I would call this classic manga style. I talked to Jay off air about my criticisms about the book, so I'm going to leave that there. I mean, I'm not going to bash. It's not about bashing either. It's not just I'm. You know how I feel about digital art. You know how I feel about lettering, and I just But this is a homemade book done by done by 3 people, maybe 4 if they have an editor, but yeah, it's art by Lily Chan and Marielle Vigna, and credited to Jay David, Drunk 3PO, our friend, and he's got a few more coming out in different colors too, and along the way, Blue brings John to the world of color, where his eyes are opened and his life is colored, and his life will never be the same. And so he returns to his black and white world, and what he can do is change his world. And I really like the story. I really, really, really like the story. It's charming. It's nice. I'm going to kick this over to some young people. I think they're going to like it too. And I can't wait to see what they think too. And I will continue to support Drunk 3PO Jay's other books too. And I was glad that he was receptive to my criticisms. Because as a lifelong comics fan, I'm like, hey, this and that or something. Something to think about. And I hope he wasn't pissed off by that. He didn't seem pissed off by it. But yeah, but it's just like it's kind of not my taste when it comes to the art style, like with the digital art. But it is done definitely with manga conventions, with the manga lens. Use a manga filter on this. So maybe even, hey Jay, if you're going into a second printing of this eventually, maybe a tankobon style. That's the traditional manga volume. That would, because it's really cool. I mean, because that sells with the young people. Young people love manga, and so maybe I'll hit them up on a DM and say, hey, maybe that's a way to go. But I don't want to totally diss digital art. And here is an example, my shining example of great digital art. This is Nosferatu by the artist Per Berg. He's known as Narwhal. And this is a retelling of this is in the public domain, and it's one of the Dracula stories. And it's actually an adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, where the names have been changed to avoid trademark infringement. So Nosferatu is a famous 1922 black and white silent film. Love vampire stories. I love vampire movies, and I love this book. This is a great example of the strength of digital art. It's the artist. And so he writes this, Pear writes this himself, Pear draws this himself. He is his own editor, and he's a self-publisher. And there's mood in here. There's feeling and light source. There's sexiness. I mean, it's about Jonathan Harker and his wife, Mary. And we're going to see, I don't know if I can show nudity, but he draws downright, I'll cover up her bubbies. I mean, she's downright beautiful and alluring, and Count Orlok is drawn to her, and it's just so much charm and expression, and he gets this from the digital medium, and they're cartoony, and I love his sense of style, and even his onomatopoeia are hand drawn, like, well, are hand drawn. They're not this cut and paste, drop and drag, menu of things. He drew that smooch. That's a kiss. That's a sound effect. That's onomatopoeia, and that looks authentic, even in the digital format. And I really like his faces. I love his light. I love that light source. It's really cool. So this is really good. I got and I'm looking forward to supporting more of his stuff, and yeah, make my Narwhal. And so Narwhal, and also Irene Strakalski and her Fiendish line. I mean, these are artists that do digital right because they put their soul into it, because it's their property, it's their story, and they're doing it in a self-published way on their own. And so these are, I think, I'm a big fan of Irene. Rini draws, big fan. And what? Come on, Pika. I just don't tell anyone I have a crush on her. I'm not simping for Rini. You know I love Polish girls and I love Chinese girls, and she's both. Hey, a guy's got a dream, you know? Shit. But thank you so very much. It's New Release Wednesday. I reserve the right to change my mind, and I might go to the store and buy those 2 issues that, because that's what's a good thing about reading the menu. Like, I don't want anything. Oh, wow, they got wings? Thank you so very much for tuning in. I hope your new release day is really good. Drop your new releases in the chat. Drop them in the comment section. Let's talk about what's turning you on, what's turning you off. What do you think about how I feel about comic book creators that block you on Twitter? No, keep that to yourself. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. Like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make content here, comic book shop style conversations. I'm also doing more hot takes lately, and yeah, they're clickbaity because I want clicks. Why not? This is being a YouTube creator is fun. I like it, and I make cooking videos, and I talk about spirituality and purpose as well. So come aboard. There's room for everyone. I'm not going to judge you if you're on one side or the other side. I'm a chef. I want to, let's be entertained all together. Let's find, this is where the common ground is. And don't let anyone tell you different. Thank you so very much. We will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.